Welcome back to another episode of Surprise Mama,
where we talk about the shit they don't tell you.
Welcome to the Surprise Mama podcast,
Where we talk about shit they don't tell you.
and the stuff that we're talking about tonight, we're very excited about.
Oh, it's fun, yeah.
Very fun. But first, I'm Ashley.
I'm Molly.
And Molly, what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about baby clothing and like baby clothing sizing.
Right.
We wanted to talk about this for a while.
Yes.
Because it's a hoot of a topic and it's so mind-blowing for any new parent.
I feel like, we're both first-time moms. Like, our daughters are our first kids. And delving into the realm of child's clothing was like a whole adventure. It kind of made me feel like when I go to buy a pair of pants.
Oh, yeah.
And as a woman, I don't know what size I am at this point because every store you go to, it's very different. Every brand is very different. There's 4 different ways that you can measure yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like baby clothes are kind of the same way.
Honestly, they are the same way.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe I think like the women's pants company, like,
They're
always
in cahoots.
They're in cahoots with the baby clothing companies.
Yeah.
Because how it's supposed to work out is like there's just, different size. There's preemie, there's newborn,
0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, and so on.
Right. Who's going? And in your mind, you're like, this is so easy. It's telling me what to put on my child. It's telling me my 3-month-old will wear a, 0 to 3 or 3 to 6.
I mean, theoretically.
Yes. But it's not always the case.
Yeah.
For example, my daughter is almost 2 and she can still fit into some 12-month clothing.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about why that is
Right.
or how that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So first thing, they say that, for example, so preemie clothing, which both of our daughters had to wear preemie clothing because they were under 6 pounds. They were pretty small.
Yeah.
So supposedly, though, preemie clothing is only meant for up to 5 pounds.
Yes.
Now, I had tried putting my daughter in a few newborn outfits.
Laughable. I packed newborn clothes for the hospital. She was swimming in them.
Swimming. It's
Like, I felt like an unfit parent.
Right.
Putting her in those to bring her home.
But
It was ridiculous.
supposedly they, based on, they went by, weight.
Right.
They should have been into newborn. But let me just show you. Here's newborn.
Super tiny, right?
It is very small.
So super cute and tiny.
Very small.
Now, this is a preemie onesie. And both our daughters wore this, actually,
Look at
because
that.
Ashley gave this to me.
Yeah,
Because I was like, oh my God, I need preemie clothes. So she brought this. But look at this. Look at this. Look how this one swallows up now. So you can see visually, if you're watching, the difference.
Right. And so if you're thinking, oh, my child who is 5.5 pounds should be able to fit into this newborn. No. And my child wore preemie clothes, I think, for the first 3 weeks. I think she was, and it wasn't just because she was light.
Yeah.
But my daughter also just wasn't, she was very short when she was born. I think she was 17 inches.
Okay.
So she was like very small. And then newborns had this scrunch.
The newborn crunch. Is it crunch or scrunch?
Scrunch.
The newborn scrunch. It's a scrunch.
So even when you're putting them into, let's say, a, long sleeve, long pants or whatever.
Yeah, they don't fill it out.
Right, because their feet don't even go into it.
Or their feet are just like up here. So like you'll have them in one of those bottomless nightgowns, the open ones. We wore those a lot.
Yes.
Because it was just easier.
Right.
Because, her little legs are like up here, like up near her, like belly button, So, but yeah, and it's not, I think the weird thing about clothing sizes and why it's so different for each kid is like we have these ideal weight classes for each size.
Right.
And all these companies manufacture them based on the average weight, quote unquote. But the problem is like your kid might weigh, let's say 8 pounds when they're born, but their torso might be really long, or their torso might be shorter, kind of like Ashley's daughter. And so that will change the way that they fit in clothing entirely.
Like so much. And going, you know, and how they label them is off of age, which is not weight. So when you get a piece of clothing, it doesn't say 7 to 10 pounds. It says 0 to 3 or whatever.
And when I first had my daughter, I was like, and I don't know, when I was pregnant, I was trying to wrap my mind around why there was like a range within the sizing, but it all makes more sense to me now, because all these manufacturers are like, okay, here's the range, because we can't say it's for like this specific month or this specific weight. It has to be a range because every baby's body is like shaped a little bit differently. And so you just have to work within those ranges. But sometimes your kid is gonna bust out of those or skip one like entirely.
Well, and what kind of confused me, and I still have not understood this one, the difference between like a newborn and like a 0.
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm like, aren't they the same?
Well, you could also say that about like 2T and what is it?
24 months, which is where I'm at right now, and I could not tell you the difference. And it's really hard to find 24 months. So I'm just like, I guess we're at 2T. That's just where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I think also some brands use sizing phrasing differently. Like, does that make sense? So like one brand might say 2T and then another brand might say 24 months. So you're like, but aren't those the same thing?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, technically.
And another thing is that, so some of the clothing that you'll get, we'll say like 0 to 3 months, which you're like, great, understood that.
Right.
And then some will just say 3 months.
Okay.
And this happened to you, I remember.
Well, I was texting you.
Yes.
And I was so confused because I was trying to organize all the clothing that I had received from friends and stuff, which also, like, if you can do that, side by side, like take clothing or borrow it from people, because your kid wears it. You blow through it when they're like really tiny.
Yeah, especially when they're really younger. Like they destroy stuff just because they poop over it too many times, or like they just like spit up you go through so many in the beginning.
Yeah. And you're not necessarily you just don't want to spend money and resource on brand new clothes. If you have the resource to do that, that's awesome. But my recommendation is just borrow some people.
Right. Hi, Billy. Billy's back.
Billy's back. She's back. Okay, anyways. But what is really confusing is, and what I realized through experience, not through like looking it up on the internet necessarily, because it just doesn't click until you like have your baby. Baby clothing size is based on the oldest age that they will be in that outfit.
Right.
So like a 3 to 6 month onesie, for example, that's based on 6 month weight or size per se.
Right.
Not necessarily 3 months. It's like they might get in it when they're 3 months if they're like long or wider, and it's gonna like kind of carry you through that range.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. So I missed out on a lot of outfits for my daughter because it was labeled like 3 months or 6 months. And in my mind, I thought, oh, she can start wearing it when she's 3 months, or she can start wearing it when she's 6 months.
Right.
So I was like, no. Dang it, I really was so excited for this outfit. And I could have obviously like tried it on her, but I just put it away thinking I'll just get it out when she is 6 months old.
Right. And so many of us miss out on that. And not only because we might not understand the sizing for baby clothing, but we might also like have stuff put in a certain place.
Yeah.
And we just forget about it.
Right.
So that kind of brings up like a new thing that we sort of want to start doing. It's like talking about like debate or preference, right? Okay, so this, like, let's go into that, because let's debate how much clothing does your kid really need? Because if like, you know, because like sizing aside, like let's say you're like, okay, I'm starting to like get the sizing of this, I understand it. how much clothing does your kid need?
Okay.
Like, what's your opinion?
Okay, my opinion is it depends on how often you want to do laundry.
Oh, that's a good
Because okay, when our daughter was first born, we did laundry, I think, like every single day. Because we had the preemie clothes and we only had so many preemie.
and they spit up so much in the beginning. Like we've talked about
Yes.
this, but like, look how cute these are. I love
So
how
we had to do dishes. We had to do laundry like every day, just to, dishes freaking every day they do.
Yeah.
But the older they get, like they still need a good amount of clothing, in my opinion. Even if you do laundry like every 3 days.
But they don't, unless they have a blowout or they still have like bad reflux. They're not really gonna go through clothing a ton.
Right.
When they're itty bitty, like fresh, brand new.
They do go through it.
You're changing their outfit, Jamie's, whatever it is, so many times a day.
Right.
So yeah, you're doing laundry more frequently.
Right.
But yeah.
So in my opinion, I would lean on the side of more rather than less. Also, I was just
For like
fortunate.
specific sizes?
I think up through like 9 months maybe.
Yeah.
And I will say we were fortunate enough to get a lot of free clothes from friends.
Yeah.
So it was like we were able to do that without buying a lot. I think that if you have to purchase a lot of your clothing, you don't have to get as many, just you might be doing laundry more often.
Right. Which I guess someone could argue, well, that's more costly or less cost effective, but it's like, I don't know. It just depends on your preference.
Right.
But I agree, actually.
Yeah.
I like, we kind of tend to do laundry more frequently anyhow, but I like having a variation in what she wears. There's stuff that we bring and store at daycare. And so there's outfits that like we don't necessarily ever see that are just at daycare if she has an accident or blowout.
Right. Like we keep outfits in her bag.
Right.
Because she has a daycare in my parents' house. So it's like she always has extra.
Yeah.
Just extra.
Exactly. And I also like I've found that you like, and I guess this is also a preference thing, but like you're putting them in the same thing all the time. So like as the adult, you kind of get sick of it.
I get
and you're
so,
like,
yeah.
surely she doesn't want to wear this again today. So like I think Ryan and I do that. We're like, we need some variation. And so we'll switch it up.
But I'm laughing because I'm like, we'll drop me off at daycare and I'm like, I think she's wearing this outfit this week. Like I think I for sure has. And I'm like, what are the other parents gonna think if they see my daughter?
I feel self-conscious for her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there are times where I put her in an outfit and I'm like, man, that outfit sucked. Like I drop her off at daycare, I'm like, she looks kind of silly. And I can't believe I like let her leave the house in that. But like obviously someday they're gonna be picking their own clothing. And we're gonna be like, yeah, okay, you can wear the skirt and your princess hat, and whatever it is that you want to wear. Like it doesn't matter. But yeah. But yeah, I actually lean on like on the end of
if you can.
If you can, it's nice to have extra.
Right.
Right now we're in a phase where we've kind of worked up to the point where we are through all the hand-me-downs. So like we're now buying pretty much all the clothing that our daughter's wearing.
Right.
And so you kind of have to like work with that.
I know.
We go to Once Upon a Child. I don't know if those are outside of like Columbus. I think they're in other cities.
Just like thrift stores or like any other, like any child's thrift store.
Yeah.
Honestly,
or even thrift stores. Like I've found like really good stuff at thrift stores.
I mean, like definitely just bought our daughter's shirts at Target today and they're like $5.
Yeah. And they like
they're not
kids clothing really isn't like that.
We just got her like long sleeve basic shirts because we were like, she was like 2.
Right. And you kind of get to this point where the seasons, because we live in Ohio, the season really will like have these mad fluctuations.
Right.
And so one day it's like, oh, she's in like a t-shirt and pants. And then the next day I'm like, you have to wear a sweater. I'm like, and like your fleece booties.
Like you have a winter coat. I don't think you do. I think we need to get one.
Right. And so you're just, I feel like because of where we're located geographically, we're kind of dealing with, we need variation in their wardrobe as well. So I guess it depends on where you live too.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, next. So the next one is I feel very passionate about.
Oh,
Um,
yes, you do.
Zippers versus buttons or snaps. Okay.
We always say buttons, but
We
we've
mean
gone
snap.
through this, but we mean snaps.
So zippers versus snap. Especially when they're a newborn and like 3 months old, 6 months old, I hate snaps so much. Zippers, in my
For like a
opinion,
onesie?
for like a onesie, yeah, like they're pajama onesies.
Okay, so I'm trying to specify because pajama snaps are very different, in my opinion, than snaps on like a onesie.
No, I mean like snaps like this are fine. Like there's only a few of
Well,
them.
yeah, that's how everyone is designed.
But
But
even that
for-
I don't like.
okay, see, I loved these.
Oh
So
gosh, you're a weirdo.
no, listen. I'm gonna throw you off for a second. This was like one of my favorite onesies. And what I'm doing for those that are not watching, I'm holding up a snap onesie, like a Supreme size. And it has the snaps on one side, and then you wrap it around the front and you snap the other side. And our daughter was so like limp and squirmy at the same time that I found it was easier to just lay this down, lay her on top of it, put her arms through, and then just snap her in.
Maybe it's because I actually could never figure out how this worked.
Wait, seriously?
When it had multiple buttons like this, I'm like,
Okay,
it's too
so
much
yeah,
for
you
me.
would like put this in, and
Well, I
then
get it.
this snapped here.
Yeah. Okay, but
You're like, I get it now.
here's my thing.
Okay.
If you're like, okay, they get squirmy. Kids get squirmy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
zippers are just like, zoop, like
Zoop.
you just zip it.
Right.
Buttons, though, I felt like I was wrestling an alligator trying to get these snaps put back together. And then half of the time I would miss a snap.
Oh, and then you have to redo the
And then you
snap.
have to the whole thing.
Well, like, okay, so for pajamas, why did I say that so weird? Pajamas. So for pajamas, like, yeah, you have a whole freaking row
Yeah,
of them, and it's super annoying. Or I don't like snaps when it's like in the crotch. So it comes
Oh,
through
I
the
hate
pants
those.
over this. But like, I will tolerate it if it's like a really cute jumper or something that
Okay,
wears too.
true.
But like for pajamas, no.
Right.
Zippers, two-way zip only.
And I had said this before, if somebody buys you a pajama that is all snaps, like from the leg to the chest, they've never had a kid or they do not like you. I mean, it's a clear sign.
Or it's a hand-me-down and they're like, we gotta get rid of
Right.
this.
And what is annoying that we did have a few outfits that were full snap. So cute. I mean, so cute.
So precious.
I don't think she ever wore them though. Maybe once or twice. Because again, it was just so annoying to snap them back up.
Well, they're like the bane of your existence.
Right.
You really hate them.
And if they have like a poopy diaper, again, a zipper is just easier, in my opinion.
No, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Because I think zips win. Zippers take the win.
They really, yeah.
But I will say, like, for preemie clothes.
For like the smaller stuff.
For preemie clothes, smaller stuff, I did prefer snaps. But then it got to a point where I was like, no.
Yeah.
But my daughter still passionately hates putting on like onesies. She hates when stuff goes over her head. I think it like scratches her little face. She just really dislikes it. So sometimes we still opt for something like this, which has like the snap and it's the crossbody.
It's just easier.
Because I don't know, it just messes with her less. And she's so long torsoed.
Right.
So things like that tend to have like a longer torso.
Right.
Anyhow. But anyhow, yeah, okay. Are you zipper or are you snap?
Right.
Which camp are you?
We can do one more.
Okay.
Okay.
Pajama versus outfit.
Yeah. So pajama versus outfit.
Yeah.
I was telling Molly that my daughter almost exclusively wore pajamas up and like through 1 year old. Just because it was easier.
What?
It was just easier.
Well, definitely is easier.
And I mean, if it was like 98 degree we put, but like, yeah, putting a shirt, like you just said, putting a shirt over your child's head when they're like 4 months old is not easy. Like at no age, I mean, now it's a lot easier because she can do it herself, but like when they're that young and that little, putting a shirt over and then putting their arms through a shirt,
The arms.
you feel like you're gonna break them.
You're like, oh my God.
And then especially like when they're still kind of scrunchy and you're trying to put like shorts or pants on them,
It's so difficult.
it's really difficult. And so we just did a lot of pajamas.
Yeah.
Because it was the zipper, and we didn't have to put socks on her because they were just like there. And
Well, it depends on the season too, like with socks.
Right.
You know, it's like if it's hot.
right.
Yeah.
Or she just wore a lot of like this all the time.
Yeah. With like no pants.
With no pants.
Because it was hot. Okay, yeah.
So
yeah. See, like, okay, that's funny because I'm on like the opposite end of the spectrum
you like outfits. You like the full getup.
Well, like Ryan and I are people that are like, when we leave the house, we're in like normal clothes. We don't wear our pajamas out.
I only have ever seen you wear like just really casual sweatpants before.
No, I actually, come to think of it, I don't own a pair of sweatpants. And I realized that the other day and I was like, I am not a girl's girl. I don't even own sweatpants. Like, what's wrong with me? Yeah, I need a pair. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, I also found that like it helped kind of break up the day. So we're like, okay, we're going out. We're gonna get dressed. And we would try to make a game of it when I would try to make like it fun when I was getting her dressed. And I feel like Ryan changes her the most.
It was like we would like put the outfits on her.
Yeah, and he still does. And like
you.
in the morning I'll be getting ready for work and I hear them in the nursery and he's like, okay, now we're gonna put it over your head. Do, 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 do. I'm like, it's so cute.
Really cute.
It's adorable. And I'm just like sitting in my room, like smiling or laughing because it's hilarious.
And also you're smiling laughing because you're not dressing her and you're like, is this your problem right now? That's the way I feel.
And sometimes she's like squawking and like screaming and she's like,
because it really is.
And he's like, we're almost done.
It really is sometimes like you're wrestling an alligator or like,
well, I feel bad.
I do.
It's not great. Like I know she doesn't love it.
Right.
But it's okay.
And it gets better, but
yeah. But also we just had this surplus of clothing. And so I just felt I was like, why not use it? Or she spit up on everything all the time. So I was like, I could either do laundry twice a day
or just use what you
for
have.
all the jammies that she's gonna ruin.
Right.
Or I can just throw in a onesie, pair of pants. She had some shorts that she wore
Shorts are really
like during the summer. It was very cute. Yeah. So I don't know. I think outfits are kind of fun. And
they're fun.
I'm also someone that's like, I want my kid to look cute.
You're so
like it's about me.
I feel like
I'm like I feel
which
so
is so great.
Like, it's ridiculous when we do pajama Saturdays. My daughter loves being in jammies.
Yeah, she's like, Mom, let me just do this.
But come Sunday, we're like, okay, let's get dressed.
I think that I like wish I was more like that. I'm just like way more practical, where I'm just like, if we're not going out today, dude, I'm just gonna keep you in.
But that's great in its own way. Right. And we do that on Saturdays.
You mean one day a week?
Or sometimes Sundays too. Or if she's sick, it's jammies all.
I'm not sure. So my daughter wasn't going to daycare. As I
maybe
wonder
that
if,
changes it.
because my parents, I didn't care. Like, you're going to pajamas to your parent, your grandparents, like whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder if daycare I would have felt a little bit more like,
yeah,
she should be in something that's a little more put together.
Right. Because I feel weird like sending my daughter to daycare in pajamas unless it's like pajama day.
Right.
And so in the temperature like fluctuates like inside daycares, like with air conditioning and that kind of thing. So we had to start dressing her in outfits exclusively at 3 months.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
Because she was leaving the house.
Yeah.
And like you have to do layers at certain points too. So I don't know. Brian and I really like outfits.
I think it is very cute.
Yeah, and we have fun picking out outfits for her, which is kind of silly too.
Also, we did mostly get from other people just pajamas. So I think it also depends on what.
So that's just what you had.
Yeah,
we were utilizing.
We had some other stuff, but like mostly it was pajamas. See, that's great. There is nothing wrong with either one of these. It just is a preference on how you.
It's just preference.
Right. It's all about preference here. Okay, so do you have some tips for us? Because I feel like you mentioned some before.
Oh yeah. Okay, I have 2 tips. Okay. So we've been having to buy new clothing for our daughter at this point now. So 2 things. If you're buying shoes or socks, one helpful thing, and you might have seen it on TikTok or whatever, but you can get a straw, like a plastic straw, or really anything that you can put to the length of their foot. So like, let's say this is their foot.
Okay.
You take this straw and you would like bend it to the point where their foot, like up to their heel.
Oh.
Like these are these are the toes. Here's the heel. And you'd put it like this and you'd cut it.
Oh.
And then if you're buying shoes, you're gonna put it inside the shoes, like at the store.
Oh,
To be like, is this too small? Is it the exact length of their foot right now? Or does it have a little bit of growing room?
Oh, it's a really good tip.
That's like something that's been really helpful for us. Socks are trickier with that.
Well,
Because the heel, well, does the heel even matter on socks? Like, I don't know.
and socks, they come from like size like 12 to 24 months. Like they always are like in packs of.
But the range on socks, we didn't talk about this, but the range on socks is actually so irritating.
I know, I just like don't even.
We put our daughter in socks every day because she goes to daycare and like her feet will get just really cold otherwise. Like, why would we put her in daycare barefoot in the winter?
Right.
That's not
You're like,
cool.
oh, okay.
But yeah, anyways, the size range on socks drives me insane. And then, okay, the other tip is,
I will say one thing about the shoes. It's just like in general,
yes,
buy a size bigger.
yeah,
Like, always buy, like, even with clothing, just buy a size bigger. They're gonna grow into it. And like if you buy the size they're currently wearing, they will wear it for like a week or two.
yeah.
And it's just like not worth it. And so and like whatever, it'll look baggy on them, or their shoes will just be like just big. It's fine though. It's fine.
But kids' bodies are crazy because like my daughter, she's 8 months old at this point, but she's been wearing like 9-month length clothing
For like a while.
for like a month already. So when she was 7 months, she started wearing 9-month clothing for length. But now she just went through another growth spurt, and there were pants that were like fitting her pretty well, but now they're baggy on her.
Right.
And it's like, so their bodies change when they go through like a growth spurt, and their weight kind of fluctuates because it spreads out. So anyways, I disagree. Always buy a size ahead.
Right.
And then the other thing is, if you're buying clothing, I made this mistake so many times because I think we mentioned it earlier. There's all this variance in brands.
Yeah.
So like one brand like Carter's we wear a lot of Carter's in our house because Carter's is longer in my opinion versus Gerber, which I really like Gerber, but it's shorter and wider.
Right.
Right. So like based on how your child's fitting in clothing, I find it helpful to bring 1 or 2
really good
items to the store. Like if there's something that's tight on them, don't bring that as your reference.
No.
Bring like a pair of pants that you know have a little bit of growth room for them, or not fit them perfectly maybe.
Yeah.
And just try to size based on that, because I've made the mistake far too many times where I buy something that looks like it's the right size, but then like we wash it and I'm like, this literally doesn't.
And there's so many times where like I'll buy my daughter a shirt and I'll hold it up and I'm like, I mean,
You're like, I could wear this.
okay.
If you don't know that inside joke, just go back to like episode 3 maybe. I think it is. Anyway,
But like, yeah, you look up and you're like, what? Like, is she this tall? Like, you just have like you think in your mind, you know what your child looks like, and then you hold up clothing, you're like, I don't know what you look like.
because here's what happens. You're at the store and you're like, huh, this for sure fits them. Like, look, like this is the size of their body. But in reality, like this is the size of their body.
Right.
And you're like, cool. We just wasted our money on this clothes.
And I said earlier, like my daughter can still wear some 12-month clothing, even though she's gonna be 2 soon.
But like, yeah,
It's because
normal.
of the brand. Like it's 1,000% because of brands. Like some of them just they might say 12 months, but they run bigger than 12 months. And so it's really taking clothes and comparing is really nice. And also just it's fine if your child is wearing clothing that's either too small or too big. Like
It's fine.
in tag size. Like it's fine.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It all that matters is that they're in stuff that doesn't like restrict their movement.
Right.
Like that's the only thing that I would care about, or
Right.
that I really care about with her.
Like
So yeah,
Like we just bought my daughter a pair of pants that are too big.
okay.
Which is fine. But like they're so big like she can barely walk in them. And I'm like, oh, okay. But they're 2T.
See, that's wild.
And so I'm just kind
You're
of
like,
like,
oh, I guess we should have gotten 24 months.
right. It's so annoying. So I'm just like, well, I actually don't really want you to wear these because you might trip over them. But like, in like a month or 2. So it's just like
Yeah.
Again, I'd rather buy too big
Right.
than too small, but it is just really frustrating sometimes with baby clothes or just kids' clothes when you're trying to buy them new clothes. You don't want to spend a ton of money, and then you end up with stuff that's way too small or way too big. So we feel your pain. And as new moms, having these are being our first kids, I feel like we learned a lot, and
Totally.
I still am very confused by some of it.
Yeah, I remain confused.
Yeah.
My takeaway recently on clothing is just that there are certain things that fit my daughter.
Yeah.
And there are certain brands that she will probably just like never wear.
Right.
Because like they just don't design them
The way
to fit her body.
Right.
Because she has a long torso.
Right.
Just like me.
Right.
Like my torso, like for example, my torso, when my husband is 6'4", and so when he's standing up next to me, I'm like 5'4", 5'5", I think. He's much taller than I am.
Oh yeah.
But when we're sitting down, we're like eye level.
And you're like, okay.
There is something crazy about that if you think about it.
Yeah,
And my
100%.
daughter has like the same torso.
She's gonna be tall.
I think she is gonna be really tall because she, like I said, she's in 9-month length, but she's been in 9 months for a month already.
Yeah.
And she just turned 8 months old.
And I will say my daughter has has just been short her whole life so far. So it's like she's probably just gonna be short.
So cute though.
And so it is cute, but it's like, again, that's why.
Do you put in Gerber? Or is it too wide?
It is pretty wide. It's very wide.
Right, it is wide.
It always looks crazy on her.
We do like the Gerber stuff though. We get the white, like short sleeve or long sleeve.
Yeah,
Just
for
under sweaters.
Yeah.
So like if we're sending our daughter to daycare in like sweatpants and like a sweater because it's really cold that day, we'll put like a Gerber onesie on under because they're thinner.
And they're just like basic and they're really nice actually. I do like those.
They do really good base layers.
Right. Right. They 100%. Their actual clothing though, it may work for your kid.
It might, yeah.
I just didn't like them.
Yeah.
I felt like they were always way too big for her. And like just way too wide.
Way too wide. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like my daughter fits the width of them in a certain way, but they're just usually too short. So we have to size up.
Yeah. So just like in the end.
Or a little bit.
Yeah. So it's just, it just doesn't work out.
Anyhow.
Anyhow.
We're baffled by the clothing sizes, but we hope that this, I don't know, brought some humor and understanding for you.
Maybe clarified a little bit. I hope it didn't like make things more confusing.
People walk away and they're like, I had no idea what I just saw.
Also, I think really mainly the point is that if you're confused, you're not alone.
If you're confused,
I think
we're confused.
A lot of people are confused. Like, again, I equate it to women trying to buy pants. It's just kind of like you figure it out.
That is, I just love that analogy. Or not an analogy, comparison.
Yeah.
A comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. All my friends are laughing at me. They're like, analogy, Molly.
You're like, it worked.
It's fine. If you know me, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho. Well,
where can people find us, Ashley?
Thanks for listening to us. You can find us on Instagram at Surprise Mama, as well as TikTok, at Surprise Mama as well. Wow. And then you can email us at surprisemommapod@gmail.com. Just with any questions, suggestions, comments, just whatever. We like hearing from you a lot. So, and then listening to us on my brain tonight.
TikTok is our new, the new app we're developing.
Anyways, you can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and
Apple Podcasts.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's like not fair. She always has to say it all.
And there's a lot I have to like.
Yeah, no, like every time I'm just literally sitting here watching it, I'm like, I don't know how she remembers all that. Oh my God. Because I don't. Yeah. But anyways, there's a lot of places you can see it and listen to us.
Yeah.
So please do. And, like, subscribe, all the bits.
All of the bits.
We'll see you soon. Bye.